This week we're going to be talking about how nutrition and physical activity are interrelated and how the body responds to both of these. First, let's start out by just stating that physical activity and nutrition really go hand in hand. Adequate nutrition is required to fuel physical activity by energy-yielding nutrients, so remember these are going to be our carbohydrates, fat, and protein, as well as vitamins and minerals. So really all of the nutrients are important to fuel physical activity. In turn, physical activity also benefits the body's nutrition. It helps to regulate the use of those energy-yielding nutrients, so regulating the use of carbohydrate, protein, and fat. It helps to improve body composition, so it helps to decrease fat mass and increase lean muscle mass or lean body mass. And it also slightly increases our daily calorie allowance. Now, this doesn't mean that just because you exercise, you can eat whatever you want, but it does allow you a little bit more flexibility in the amount of calories that you can consume. So let's now get into some definitions. Physical activity is the bodily movement that's produced by muscle contractions that substantially increase energy expenditure. So basically what physical activity is any sort of bodily movement. It could be something like walking, it could be doing jumping jacks, or it might just be, getting up from your chair, because any sort of movement is going to produce those muscle contractions. Fitness are characteristics that enable the body to perform physical activity. We'll talk more about these in a couple of slides. And it's also the ability to meet everyday physical demands with enough energy to rise to the physical challenge. So do you have enough fitness to basically perform your everyday activities? So maybe that's walking to the bus or running to the bus if you're running late, or walking up and down stairs. Fitness is also the body's ability to withstand stress of any sort. Exercise differs from physical activity in that exercise is planned, structured, and it's composed of repetitive bodily movements. And these are used to promote or maintain physical fitness. So physical activity and exercise are often used interchangeably, and they're going to be used interchangeably throughout the lecture. But really, physical activity is any bodily movement, and exercise is more of a planned, structured bodily movement. So characteristics of fit individuals. These individuals that have high fitness are able to move easily, they have balance, they have endurance, they have increased strength, they have better emotional health, so because physical activity helps to relieve stress, depression, and anxiety. And individuals that are fit also have improved self-body image. This is maybe related to something as simple as just having better posture because of the increased balance, better strength, and better endurance. And also, it could be related to body changes that come along with having increased physical fitness. There are many benefits of fitness, and you could read more about these or much more details in your book. But fitness helps to increase your sleep, amount of restful sleep. It improves overall nutritional health, so it can help with body weight management, improving body composition, as we talked before. It also can improve bone density, which is important to protect against osteoporosis, as we previously discussed. It increases immunity. It can lower the risk of some cancers and other chronic health diseases. Again, it increases or improves self-image. And also, it can lead to longer life and a higher quality of life later in your living years. So there are a lot of benefits of physical fitness. Now let's get into the physical activity guidelines for Americans. There are many components or many types of activities involved in physical activity guidelines, so oftentimes we think of what's defined here as aerobic activities, but there are really other components as well. So aerobic activities help to maintain and improve cardiovascular health. Resistance training helps to develop muscle strength, power, and endurance, and flexibility allows for the full range of motion for joints. Time and intensity are very important. So the longer that you do something or the higher intensely that you do it, usually the better or the greater the health benefit you'll achieve. So let's talk more about what these physical activity guidelines entail. So one thing I want to point out is that these guidelines are defined in accumulated weekly totals. So this is not that you have to do every single activity every day, but throughout the course of the week, these are things that you should accumulate. So every day, you should try to choose an active lifestyle that engage in flexibility activities. 5 or more days a week, you should engage in moderate or vigorous aerobic activities. 2 or more days a week, you should engage in strength activities. And seldomly, you should participate in sedentary activities like being a couch potato and sitting, we sit at our computers all day long or watching excess TV. So let's talk more about each. As far as aerobic activities, for substantial health benefits, adults need to do at least 2 hours and 30 minutes or 150 minutes each week of moderate intensity aerobic activity, or 1 hour and 15 minutes or 75 minutes each week of vigorous intensity aerobic activity. So as I said before, these are accumulated throughout the week. So you don't have to do 150 minutes every single day. You can really spread this throughout the week. So 30 minutes a day, an hour one day, 2 hours another day. You can mix and match whenever you have the time. The other thing I want to point out is the intensity. So when you go at a lower intensity, you need more time. And so you see when we do something more vigorously, so maybe you sprint more often than just walk, your time decreases. And really, you can mix and match these, as I said before. An aerobic activity should be performed for at least 10 minutes at a time, preferably. And again, these can be spread throughout the week. So even if you have 10 minutes, that's better than nothing. And your 10 minutes can accumulate, up to 30 minutes or even an hour throughout the day. Next, we have resistance training or weight training. So this is muscle strengthening activities, and they should be done 2 or more days a week. All major muscle groups should be worked. So these include your muscle groups like your legs, your hips, your back, abs, chest, shoulders, arms. So all those major muscle groups. Exercises for each muscle group should be repeated 8 to 12 times per set. And as the exercise gets easier, you can either increase the number of repetitions you do, you can increase the number of sets you do, or you can add weight. So, if you do 8 bicep curls at 10 pounds, and that gets super easy, you could start doing 12 still at 10 pounds, or maybe you can stay at 8 and increase up to 20 pounds. So there are several ways that you can increase the intensity with resistance training. This table does a nice job. This is modified from your book, but again, it goes through the different type of activities. So again, aerobic, resistance, and stretching. The frequency, so aerobic and stretching are the most, you should do these pretty much every day. But again, your aerobic activity can be spread throughout the week. The intensity, and then the duration. So there are several essentials to physical fitness. And to be physically fit, you must develop enough flexibility, muscle strength, muscle endurance, and cardiorespiratory endurance to allow you to meet the demands of everyday life. For athletes, in addition to these basic components of fitness, they also need to have muscle power, agility, quick reaction time, and the ability to resist muscle fatigue. So think about, a basketball player has to be able to, move back and forth really fast. A track person has to be able to react very quickly to as soon as that shotgun goes off that they're off to the race. A volleyball, also having to be quick to move around. For muscle strength or muscle fatigue, a runner. So athletes have some additional requirements beyond these essentials of physical fitness. So how do muscles adapt to physical activity? Muscles respond to overload of physical activity by gaining strength and size, and this is known as hypertrophy. So if you don't exercise for a long time or you just sit and do nothing, you would have the opposite happen, which is atrophy. So this would be a decrease in size. So resistance training can help to increase muscle size and strength, and again, this is known as hypertrophy. It's really important to balance activity and rest. So remember that resistance training isn't something that you have to do every single day. And you shouldn't work the same muscle groups on consecutive days. So the recommendation for resistance training is 2 to 3 times a week. If you wanted to do it every single day, that would be fine, but you would want to make sure that you're working different muscle groups. So you wouldn't want to do legs 2 days in a row, but maybe Monday and Wednesday or Monday and Thursday you do legs. This would be especially important if you maybe worked every single muscle group on Monday. You wouldn't want to work every single muscle group on Tuesday. You would want to wait a couple days. This rest time is really important because it allows the muscles time to be replenished with energy and fuel, and also allows them time to adapt and increase in that hypertrophy again. And muscles adapt to activities that they're called upon to perform repeatedly. So they can get used to the activities that you do. So this is why it's important to, increase the intensity, the duration, or the time. But also it helps you to learn what your muscles to learn what they need to do. So if you're a runner, running is what you really need to do, and your muscles are going to adapt to that. Progressive weight training is also important because it can help to prevent and manage chronic diseases. So again, increasing the weight on something, increasing the intensity, and increasing the duration. How does aerobic activity benefit the heart? It enhances the capacity of the heart, lung, and blood to deliver oxygen to muscles and remove waste from cells. So both the transfer of and removal of waste and oxygen. It also enhances the efficiency of delivery of oxygen and the removal of waste. So we have enhanced capacity and increased efficiency, both very important from aerobic training. Effective cardiorespiratory activities are going to lead to an elevated heart rate for sustained periods of time. So again, think about running, even walking very quickly, riding a bike, jogging, swimming, the elliptical, even thinking of other sports would be considered cardiorespiratory activities. So like tennis or basketball, really anything that's, again, getting your body moving and increasing your heart rate, and using most of the large muscle groups of the body. VO2 max is the measure of cardiorespiratory fitness, and VO2 max is just the maximal oxygen uptake by the body. As your cardiorespiratory fitness increases and your VO2 max increases, this increases your heart strength and stroke volume. So this is the amount of blood that's pumped with each heartbeat out to the body. So again, we're increasing that efficiency and capacity of the heart and the lungs to deliver oxygen to our cells and muscles. Increased cardiorespiratory fitness also slows your resting pulse. So people that are more fit have a lower resting heart rate. It increases your breathing efficiency. It improves circulation and oxygen delivery, can help reduce blood pressure, and it also increases HDL cholesterol. If you remember back to our lesson on fats and lipids, HDL cholesterol is pretty hard to increase, but HDL cholesterol is our good cholesterol. And so improving physical activity or increasing physical activity and in turn improving cardiorespiratory fitness is one way we can help to increase our HDL cholesterol and help to prevent chronic disease.